really put it on just now. I wanted to ask the doctor the statistics around cancer in South Africa. What does it look like at the moment?
You know, we don't have the most accurate statistics. Our cancer registry fell away a few years ago, but has been resurrected. It's been gazetted that now it's a communicable disease that needs to be, well, non-communicable disease that needs to be reported. So we're going to probably in the next 5 years have far better stats available to us. We do know which are our most common cancers. Breast cancer in women certainly is the most common cancer and gets a lot of airtime during October. But lung cancer is one of those that we can potentially reduce incidence by stopping something that we're doing. And it's not many cancers that you can actually say, well, if I reduce what I'm doing or I stop doing something I'm doing, I can actually stop my risk.
Yeah.
You know, about 20% to 15% of lung cancers are not in fact related to smoking, but the majority, 85% are related to smoking. So, you know, this is something you can do to reduce your risk of developing a life-threatening illness. We've got to do it. We've got to do it.
How far are we down the road in South Africa in this fight against cancer in general, but also specifically today and this month, lung cancer?
Well, I mean, this kind of airtime that Lung Cancer Awareness Month gets is absolutely amazing, you know, because it will generate awareness. Awareness reduces people's exposure and just sort of gives a little bit of incentive to say stop smoking. But I've got to commend our government, our last 3 ministers of health. They've come down really hard on smoking. Yeah. You can't smoke in public places anymore. You aren't allowed to smoke in restaurants. You know, they've really gone a long way to making it difficult for people to necessarily light up.
Tanya, your experience with the campaign, is there a sense that young people smoke less and less today?
You know, I think it's difficult to say in terms of smoking, but obviously younger people do have peer pressure at school to start smoking, and really it's something that can easily be stopped before it's too late, before you start getting addicted. So it is something that younger people need to look at, and really, as Dr. Demetrio said, you know, lung cancer is one of those cancers that we can almost control by our habits.
Just tell us about the goals of the campaign and some of the success stories.
Well, we really just obviously are very new at the Too Cool to Smoke campaign, but I think really we found that through our Facebook page, Be Cancer Aware, the public really have started to support this campaign. We're just taking a very serious information about lung cancer, and we're just adding a little bit of fun to it by asking people to take a photograph of themselves wearing their sunglasses to show they are too cool to smoke. And I think it's really just been taken up really, really well by the public, even though it is a very serious matter that we're talking about.
Doctor, lifestyle always plays an important role, as well as your genes, I suppose, but how often should a smoker and a non-smoker go for a lung-specific checkup?
Well, I think any smoker, if they have got any change in their normal sort of smoker's cough, should go and be investigated. Certainly, if you're losing any weight, if you find that you're losing weight and you can't explain it, it's different if you're on a diet. But if there's any sort of coughing up of blood especially, need to go and have that investigated. But over and above that, to go for regular lung function tests, because it's not only lung cancer that is the damage you do to yourself through smoking, you can cause obstructive airways disease. So probably every 2 to 3 years, smokers should be assessed, and just to be sure that there isn't anything else going on.
If you have cancer in the family, then you're obviously in a more higher risk group. What sort of recourse? You go the same route?
Well, I think if you have a family history of lung cancer, especially in someone who's smoked, you know that you potentially are more sort of sensitive to the toxin. So rather don't start. But if there is someone who's a smoker in the family who developed a lung cancer, I would say at least every sort of 2 to 3 years you need to go and be assessed.
Tanya, the ban, South Africa, we've got ban of smoking in public places now for the last couple of years, and more clampdowns on it amongst youth and so forth. They can't even buy cigarettes over the counter. Has that been successful?
Oh, most definitely. I think so. I think if you look at what's been happening in Australia and Canada, South Africa really has been following in their footsteps, and the success behind it has really, I think, initially the public probably wasn't very happy about it, but I think people have realized that, you know, it is a health risk, and people become more open to following those guidelines. So I think definitely, as Dr. Dimitri also said, the government in South Africa have done a fantastic job in curbing smoking in public places.
I wanted to ask you more medical advice because I've got some members of my family, they've been smoking for 60 years and nothing happens to them, no cancer, nothing. Is it as simple as that, a luck of the draw, or is it genetics?
It's a bit of both. It's the interaction of the toxin really with your genetics. But the longer you smoke, the more risk you have of creating trouble. But it's not just lung cancer. It's ischemic heart disease, heart attacks, strokes. People age more if they smoke. And they've been exposing you to secondhand smoking, which increases your risk of lung cancer by 1.5 times the baseline population. So you've got to force them to go outside. If they're going to be smoking in your presence, you tell them it's an absolute no-no. And maybe that'll give them a little bit more incentive to at least cut down.
Tanya, just tell us again how people can get in touch with your campaign and how they can get involved with the Too Cool to Smoke campaign.
It's very simple, very easy. Facebook page, Be Cancer Aware. And we also have a website page, becanceraware.co.za. But really the interaction is on the Facebook page. And, you know, we really would invite people to, today, just for a bit of fun, post their photos of them wearing their sunglasses. And yes, there you go.
I think it's time for me to put on the sunglasses because I'm a non-smoker now. There we go. It sort of goes with a brown outfit. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's a fantastic campaign, and Dr. Dimitri, thank you for joining us as well. Tanya Bennetts.